Welcome to the Answer is Yes podcast, where we interview some of the most interesting people that have said yes to opportunities in their life. We hope that through these stories, you can learn to create your own destiny by saying yes along the way. Join us as we explore the new series covering topics such as passion, integrity, and hard work. I'm your host, Jim Riley, and I hope you enjoy these interviews as much as I do. I believe that everyone has an important message worth hearing. Today I talked to David Lee Jensen. He's a 2-time best-selling author, Fortune 500 speaker, and an entrepreneur coach. I love his book title called The Naked Interview, Hiring Without Regret. And also he's got a book, Hire Me or Else, How to Land Your Job That You Love. And one of the things he talks about is the people you choose will change the trajectory of your business and life. And there's so much truth to that. You know, the time that we spend with others and who we choose to spend that time with is so important. Make sure you're surrounding yourself with people that support you, your desires, your goals, your dreams, as well as you're the one giving them that same thing back and supporting their desires and dreams. Because I think we can all live in a happier, better place. Be thankful for what we have, and hopefully you'll be thankful for this interview that I have today with David Lee Jensen. Enjoy. Welcome back to the Answer is Yes show. We always have great guests on the line, and today is no exception. I've got David Lee Jensen on the line today. How are you, David?
I'm awesome, Jim. How are you today?
I'm doing well and enjoying the great outdoors and blue skies as spring is approaching us. So I'm happy to be doing what I'm doing, and I'm happy to have you on the line.
Thanks, man. I think it's a little ridiculous that the 50-some-odd degree weather you have there with gorgeous blue skies is the same thing I've got out my window in Miami right now. 50-something degrees, but gorgeous blue skies and ocean.
Yeah, well, we're not complaining, that's for sure. You know, I started looking through your materials, and it just stands out every time, and I guess that's why it's a best-selling book. But your book titled The Naked Interview, Hiring Without Regret, and also Hire Me or Else is another one of your books. I love those titles. I love what you're doing. And I want to talk a lot about that. But could you give our listeners some of your background, maybe where you started in business or college and how you got to where you're at today?
Yeah, absolutely. I'm from Boston, Massachusetts originally. Lived there all the way up through college, and went out to Los Angeles to try my hat in the entertainment industry. Ended up as an agent there, which truly was my first real entrepreneur, maybe not my first entrepreneur venture, but definitely my first like legitimate, cash-oriented business. And yeah, as I said it, I was like, well, no, there were definitely a few things before that tried and failed. As an entrepreneur, there's a lot of success and failure in life, brief success and then big failure. And so I went through those things, and after running a really successful consulting company, I had a key client who asked me to come on board, and I, full-time and be their president. And because I had small children at home, I said, okay, good, I'm going to do this. And I had a stable career in the banking industry for 10 years, helped grow a company to $2.5 billion in merchant sales. And then I realized, wow, I'm making money for someone else, and I'm not really establishing, a legacy or a brand of my own, which is what I had originally wanted to do, and I kind of had given up. So I looked at my wife, and she looked at me, and she said, that's it, take the jump, let's do it. And, we established what was most important to us, which was choosing the right people. And we put together the book, The Naked Interview, Hiring Without Regret, which really was inspired by like losing my virginity and the whole Virgin brand from Richard Branson, as I jumped into entrepreneurship.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
Well,
from there we developed the Hiring Academy, which, helps business owners learn how to hire the right person the first time and every time. And then now get a new business called CR8 Entrepreneurs. And I'm basically trying to help 8 million people learn to do exactly what I did, which is, quit your day job, establish becoming an author, a speaker, a coach, an online marketer, and then go out and take responsibility for the 8 billion people on planet Earth.
Can you talk a little bit about that program and kind of some of the contents. I don't want to give all your secret sauce away here on the line, but would love to hear a little bit more on that. Maybe we can add some value for people that are listening and are thinking about being entrepreneurs, or maybe they just launched their entrepreneurial career. It's like, now what do I do?
Yeah, sure. It's funny because I really didn't realize that was my purpose until having gone through the whole, successful entrepreneur, which, it's overnight success, right? Which is 10 years in the making.
Always.
And then you come out the other end and you're like, wow, that was, it's like a 12-round boxing match against, friggin' Conor McGregor or something. Like, it was painful. But at the end, you go, wow, I've been able to watch my kids grow up. I've been able to live anywhere I want in the world. I've been able to have the freedom to, start, change, stop my own business, my own ideas. I can go to a movie on a Wednesday afternoon at 12 noon. I can, have a glass of wine at, it doesn't matter. You are in control of your own destiny once you truly become an entrepreneur. So I tell people, they hear sometimes, like, follow your passion, right? Mm-hmm. And then they follow their passion right into a ditch because their passion is something that's not money generating, meaning it doesn't solve a problem for someone that then they're willing to pay for. So I feel like the key value that somebody could take away immediately is definitely look for what your passion is. Definitely look for what you're really, adept to do well, and then figure out how that solves a problem for someone else. Because if you can do that, then you can start making money at it. Then you can actually have a career that you love to jump out of bed, every day. You and I were talking briefly about Spartan. And so, the founder of that was like, wow, this is what I love to do. This is my adventure. And so now he's got, a worldwide movement with it, which makes him a really great living doing what he loves to do.
Yeah. I think being self-aware and what it is that you love to do is a really important step in the process, because oftentimes we'll jump into something. People get those entrepreneurial magazines and they see all the franchise opportunities. And it's like, oh, this one's making that kind of money or this kind of money. And they jump into something without even thinking about, do they love that product? Do they love doing, whether it be a fast food chain or a mailbox store, et cetera. They just feel like, oh, this is a way to make money. But if you love what you do, it makes an entire difference in the outcome of that performance of not only yourself, but that business.
Most definitely. I mean, I've seen, I've done a lot of entrepreneur coaching, and I've seen people come and they're like, yeah, I really want to have a coffee, franchise. I really want to go out and get what's it called? Tea leaf, whatever it's called, coffee bean and tea leaf or whatever. And I'm like, great. I understand. And yes, you could build a franchise model and that's an entrepreneurial venture. And I'm like, do me a favor. Go work at a Starbucks or a Coffee Bean or one of those coffee places just for a week or two. Like, go get a job there, see how you like it. And then they come back and they're like, oh my Lord, like, this is the worst thing in the universe. This was torture. I would never want to do this. And so you want to make sure that your passion is really well defined. It's something you're good at. And remember that it's a business. So, once you begin and start in that direction, you're kind of stuck with it, and you've got to really take care of your clients,
that is such a critical piece of advice. And I really want to touch on it again, what you said there. Somebody wants to go into the coffee business. They want to invest. I don't know what the minimums are for coffee bean and tea leaf. Let's just say it's $100,000.
It's incredible.
It is, right? So let's just say it was $100,000 plus, and this becomes your career for the next 20 years. To request them to go and work in a coffee store for a couple weeks or a couple months or even 6 months, right, to understand the business, and if this is really what you want to do, that could be the best investment of their entire life. And I think that our egos 100%. Get in the way, and we think, there's no way I'm going to go make minimum wage at another coffee store for the next month or 6 months just to learn about this business that I know I want to do. But like you said, what if they don't like it? then what? Right?
Totally. I mean, and I have an example on the other end of the spectrum. My little sister wanted to be a veterinarian. And I mean, since walking, she was like, I love animals, this, that, the other, I'm going to be a veterinarian. I'm going to be a veterinarian. I'm going to be a veterinarian. And we were like, well, what about a zookeeper? No, I said I'm going to be a veterinarian. Okay, got it. Right? And then, before enrolling in any, long-term program, she went and did an internship at a vet's, place. And literally, I don't think it took 2 days till she came home and was like, I'm definitely not going to be a veterinarian. I'm going to be a dog trainer, because I can't stand the sight of blood or seeing, an injured animal that's, that I've now got to do surgery on, right? Important that you figure that out.
Well, investing your time and energies towards the success of your business or being an entrepreneur is so critical. And that investment comes in a number of ways. It's not just money, but as we're talking about here, time and attention to learn something. I mentioned before the show with you briefly that my dad's cousin started Pizza Factory, which is, I think there are over 300 franchise locations. It's a small town pizza store, very successful, great concept. Well, Danny Wheeler, who founded that, what most people don't know, they just think of him as this rich guy that lives on one of these Washington Islands we talked about. What they don't know is that Danny retired from a successful real estate business and went and worked at a pizza store for a year to learn the business. This is a man that was making millions of dollars in real estate, retired there, worked in a pizza store for a year, learned how to do it, and then started the Pizza Factory. I mean, he did his time and realized it's exactly what he wanted to do, and he turned it into his concept, and it worked out for him.
Wow. And it does work both ways. It's funny because, that is a brilliant way to pull it off. And, and I told you the reason I came up was I retired to, an island in Washington as well. And, during that time was like, okay, good. Because I know it's a business, what am I really, really good at? And that's where the whole hiring thing came up, because I had helped grow the business that I was a part of previously by putting an amazing culture there and putting an amazing team there. And I really then just listed out, these are the keys to hiring the right people. And I shared that with my friends, and then I wrote the book on it, and then it was a huge success just really organically. So it kind of fell into that because it was something I was good at. However, fast forward 10 years later, and it was like, okay, I'm really good at that, and I've really helped a lot of people with this. But is this what I want, engraved on my tombstone? Is this, how I feel I'm going to help change the course of humanity? Is this what I'm going to wake up at 3 a.m. taking notes about because I'm excited about it? And I realized that just wasn't it. So you can do something, without it being money for money's sake, with, some purpose or skill or, talent, and then just, have a plan to pull back from the business and to be able to then, kind of like, his case, he was really good at real estate, but obviously to retire from it meant he was done with that game. That wasn't something he wanted to do anymore, and he wanted to go cook pizzas, and that's okay, I think.
Yeah, certainly. I want to shift gears here a little bit because you brought up hiring and what you were successful at. There's a line I read of yours that says, the people you choose will change the trajectory of your business and life. And what's interesting about that, as we think about entrepreneurs, right, we start a business and we immediately start thinking about our team that we want to surround ourselves with in this entrepreneurial business that we started. It is so critical early on who you pick to be a part of that team. And I've been burned before hiring people, friends or people that I thought were really good at a certain thing in business, but they didn't have that entrepreneurial spirit and they didn't quite get or understand what that meant. Can you talk about that a little bit? Because I think it's such a critical sentence that you've posted up.
Cool. Yeah, absolutely. And the depth of that comes from the entire quote having the "and life" at the end, because my whole backstory started, as a child, when, I was the son of a single mom who did an amazing job, working, a gazillion jobs and really always providing for me and, educating me to be a gentleman and all of these things. I mean, just the best single mom in the world. And then she got attached to a stepfather who was, just complete evil. And at one point, I finally had to dial 911